The ocean can be calm and peaceful, but when things go wrong at sea, they go terribly wrong. Today we dive deep into some of the biggest ship collisions and shocking mistakes ever caught on camera. From massive cargo vessels crushing into ports, to luxury cruise liners losing control, these real-life moments show the true power and danger of the open waters. Watch till the end, because the final clip will leave you speechless. It all starts with a calm sea and a clear sky. Everything looks perfect, till suddenly something goes wrong. A single mistake by the captain, a sudden change in wind, or a system failure can turn a billion-dollar ship into a floating disaster. These collisions are so intense, so unbelievable, that even experienced sailors couldn't look away. One of the most unbelievable moments was caught in the Panama Canal, where a massive container ship tried to fit through the narrow locks. The captain misjudged the turn, scraping and crushing the ship's steel side against the concrete wall. Sparks flew. Alarms went off, and the entire scene was caught on camera by shocked tourists watching from above. Then came the chaos in Venice, when a giant cruise ship lost control near the dock. People screamed and ran as the huge vessel kept moving forward, unstoppable. Its horn blared across the harbor as small boats scrambled to get out of the way. The collision was so powerful the ground shook. It was a moment that reminded everyone that even the most advanced technology can fail. In another terrifying incident, two massive cargo ships collided head-on in the middle of the ocean. Both were carrying thousands of tons of goods. The impact was so strong it sent containers flying into the water like toys. The crews were forced to abandon ship as fuel began leaking into the sea. Rescue helicopters rushed in, but the damage was already done. The sight was horrifying, two giants of steel sinking side by side. But not all mistakes happen during storms or battles. Sometimes human error is enough to create a disaster. A naval training exercise in calm waters turned into chaos when one ship's radar malfunctioned. Before the crew realized it, they had rammed straight into another vessel. Cameras on deck caught the entire moment, the sudden crash, the explosion of metal, and the panic that followed. And who can forget the shocking footage of a massive ship tipping to one side near a Korean port? The crew had loaded it unevenly, and as it turned, gravity took over. In seconds, the whole ship rolled over like a toy boat. Containers fell into the water one after another, creating a chain reaction that looked straight out of a movie. Even warships are not safe. In one of the most expensive naval accidents ever, a U.S. Navy destroyer collided with a cargo ship during the night. Both ships were equipped with high-tech radar, yet somehow, neither saw the other coming in time. The sound of the collision echoed across the dark sea as alarms blared and sailors rushed to safety. It was a mistake that cost millions in lives. Then there's the moment when a massive oil tanker lost control during docking. The tide was strong, and before the crew could react, the ship slammed into the pier, breaking it apart like paper. The crash sent shockwaves across the harbor, and the video went viral within hours. People couldn't believe how something so huge could move with such unstoppable force. And sometimes, it's nature itself that decides the fate of these ships. A storm in the North Sea once pushed a 1,000-foot cargo vessel off course, slamming it into another anchored ship. The waves were massive, the winds brutal, and both vessels struggled to survive. Cameras captured the terrifying moment when metal met metal and the sea swallowed everything in chaos. In another shocking scene, a passenger ferry packed with hundreds of people suddenly veered off its course and collided with a dock at full speed. Security cameras caught everything: the sound of the impact, the panic of passengers, and the chaos that followed. Windows shattered, alarms blared, and people screamed as the ship's massive front crushed into the harbor wall. The captain later admitted that a small engine malfunction had caused the disaster, but for those on board, it felt like the end. One of the most unbelievable collisions happened in a narrow Chinese river. Two massive vessels, each longer than a football field, tried to pass at the same time. The waterway was too tight, and when the sides scraped, it sent sparks flying. Witnesses nearby said the sound of the metal grinding was louder than thunder. Both ships became stuck for hours, blocking trade routes and causing millions in damage. Then came the eerie video of a ghost ship drifting silently toward a coastline. With no crew on board and no control system working, the empty vessel crashed into the rocks with terrifying force. The sound echoed across the shore as waves smashed into its side. Locals who filmed the moment said it felt like watching a horror movie, only it was real. One viral clip showed a giant ship losing balance as it tried to turn around a corner in a tight port. It tilted dangerously to one side, causing containers to fall into the water like dominoes. Each crash was followed by a massive splash. The workers on shore ran for their lives, shouting as the ship kept leaning further until it almost capsized. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt, but the footage was unforgettable. Sometimes collisions happen because of pure arrogance. In one famous clip, two ship captains refused to change course in open water, each thinking the other would move first. Their pride cost them dearly, because they ended up colliding head-on in front of stunned fishermen. The force of the crash sent waves that rocked nearby boats and even damaged docks miles away. But nothing compares to the terrifying moment when a cruise ship's steering system failed during a storm. As massive waves crashed against it, the vessel turned sideways and hit a cargo ship nearby. Passengers filmed everything: the lightning, the shaking, and the horrifying crash that followed. The ocean lit up with sparks and fire. It was a scene no one on that ship would ever forget. Another jaw-dropping accident occurred when a massive shipping crane was taken down by a runaway cargo ship. The ship lost control while docking and slammed straight into the port's loading area. The crane toppled like a toy, crashing into containers and sending workers running for safety. The destruction was caught from multiple angles, and the footage spread worldwide within minutes. In the Arctic, a research ship made headlines when it hit an iceberg after misjudging its distance in foggy conditions. The camera on deck showed the ice tearing through the hull as alarms went off. The crew worked frantically to stop the flooding, but the damage was too much. As they escaped into lifeboats, the massive ship slowly began to tilt and sink, disappearing into the icy water. Another unforgettable incident came from Japan, where a massive car carrier ship overturned just minutes after leaving port. Cars and trucks inside slid violently as the ship leaned, creating a thunderous roar that could be heard for miles. The shocking video showed rescue teams racing against time as the vessel continued to sink on its side. Experts later discovered that uneven loading was the main cause. And finally, one of the most heart-stopping ship collisions ever recorded happened near Singapore, where two oil tankers collided at dawn. The impact caused an explosion that lit up the sky and sent black smoke billowing over the sea. The fire raged for hours, and rescue teams battled both flames and toxic fumes. It was a moment that reminded the world just how dangerous life at sea can be. One of the most jaw-dropping moments ever captured showed a massive cruise ship in the Mediterranean losing control during docking. Everything looked normal until a sudden gust of wind pushed the giant vessel sideways. Within seconds, it crashed into another smaller cruise ship docked nearby. The sound of metal crushing against metal echoed across the harbor. Passengers screamed as debris fell from the decks. The video went viral almost instantly, proving how even a slight change in weather can cause chaos for ships of any size. In another shocking case, a huge cargo ship tried to maneuver through a busy harbor during low tide. The captain misjudged the depth, and the ship's bottom scraped against the seabed. The vessel began to tilt slowly, then faster, until hundreds of containers fell overboard one by one. The sea was soon filled with floating cargo, and nearby boats scrambled to avoid being hit. It was a costly mistake, both financially and environmentally. Sometimes, even rescue ships make deadly mistakes. A clip from the Philippines showed a Coast Guard vessel rushing to save stranded fishermen. Leader collided with their small wooden boat. The impact shattered the boat into pieces, throwing people into the water. Cameras on board captured the heartbreaking chaos as rescuers tried desperately to pull survivors out before the current carried them away. In another unbelievable scene, a luxury yacht collided with a massive bridge after the captain miscalculated its height. Onlookers watched in disbelief as the top deck was completely crushed. The video spread across social media, with millions of people wondering how such an expensive vessel could be taken down by a simple human error. Then there's the moment when a massive ship, loaded with oil, caught fire after hitting a harbor wall. The explosion was so intense that it shook buildings along the coast. Flames towered above the deck while black smoke filled the sky. Fireboats rushed to the scene, battling the inferno for hours before finally containing it. The damage cost hundreds of millions, and the footage became one of the most shared disaster clips online. In another viral video, a military ship collided with a cargo vessel during training exercises in rough weather. The waves were wild, visibility was low, and both ships moved at high speed. The moment they hit, a blinding flash of light and a massive explosion lit up the dark sea. The camera recording from the deck showed sailors thrown off their feet as alarms screamed through the night. It was a terrifying reminder of how dangerous life at sea can truly be. And who could forget the haunting video from a Russian port where an enormous icebreaker crashed into the dock? The force was so great, it destroyed a large section of the harbor, sending ice and debris flying everywhere. The crew inside could do nothing. The ship was simply too heavy to stop once it started moving. The crash was caught from multiple angles and became one of the most replayed ship disaster clips in history. In another heart-stopping clip, a passenger ferry lost control during a storm and drifted straight into another ship. People screamed from both decks as the vessels closed in on each other. The crash sent passengers tumbling to the floor and chaos broke out instantly. It took rescue teams hours to stabilize both ships and bring everyone to safety. The videos filmed by passengers went viral, showing raw panic and the brutal power of the sea. There was also a shocking scene off the coast of Norway, where two fishing trawlers collided while competing for a catch. Both captains refused to back off, and their stubbornness turned into disaster. The boats smashed together, one capsized and the other suffered massive damage. Locals who witnessed the event described it as a fight between pride and the sea. And finally, one of the most terrifying modern ship collisions ever caught on camera took place in the Suez Canal. A massive cargo ship, already infamous for blocking the canal once before, lost steering again and slammed into the canal wall. Sand and water exploded around it, and global trade halted once more. The video spread across the internet in minutes, proving that no matter how advanced technology becomes, one small mistake at sea can create chaos for the entire world.